Have you ever wondered why, sometimes, your prayers seem to go unanswered? It may sound strange, but many people pray the wrong way without even realizing it. What Jesus teaches about talking to God is revolutionary, yet simple, though few truly understand it. While many focus on asking, complaining, or even trying to bargain with the Creator, there is one fundamental mistake that prevents true connection and blocks the flow of spiritual blessings. Imagine this. You're praying for financial help, but your words are filled with doubt, fear, and even distrust. It's like trying to use the wrong key to open a door. You put in a lot of effort, but nothing happens. Jesus teaches us that prayer is not just about making requests. It is about aligning with God's will, engaging in a dialogue that transforms our consciousness and opens doors that once seemed locked. Do you want to know the most common mistake people make when speaking to God and how you can change it? This lesson can not only transform your prayers, but also your spiritual and material life. Get ready to discover a secret that few understand, one that could be the turning point in your faith journey. It's interesting how difficulties often seem to pile up right when we need stability the most. Financial struggles, for example, are more than just challenges. They act as divine training. Imagine an athlete preparing for the Olympics. He must endure intense training to reach his peak performance. The same is true in the spiritual life. God uses these moments to shape our character and strengthen our faith, showing us that our strength doesn't come from human resources, but from Him. Every challenge, no matter how difficult, has a purpose leading to something greater and more meaningful. When money is tight, we are forced to reassess what truly matters. A man once lost everything in a failed business, but found peace by rediscovering his connection with God and his family. Instead of despairing, he learned to trust in the spiritual provision that never runs dry. It's like trading a flashlight for a floodlight. Material wealth may illuminate for a while, but God's light never fades. In these moments, dependence on Him is not just necessary, it is transformative. And why does this happen? Because the process is just as important as the destination. Struggles don't come to destroy us, but to prepare us. It's like a sculptor working diligently on a block of marble, seeing the masterpiece that no one else can. God does the same with us, refining us through difficulties. But is the ultimate goal just to shape our character? Or is there a deeper lesson about where we place our trust? Perhaps this is where faith outweighs wealth, a bridge leading us to the next lesson. It's fascinating how, in the quest for security, humans often place their trust in tangible things like money and possessions. However, God calls us to a much higher trust in Him. He uses financial crises as a gentle but sometimes harsh reminder that material wealth can disappear, but His presence is eternal. You think of Job, who lost everything but never abandoned his faith. When everything around him seemed to collapse, he found strength in God that no amount of money could buy. This kind of trust is not passive. It's an active decision to prioritize eternal values over temporary ones. For example, during a difficult time, a woman chose to put her faith into action by helping someone who was even worse off than she was. With a small amount of food and a heart full of compassion, she proved that God works through us. What seems little in material terms can be an abundance spiritually. Small acts like praying for someone or sharing words of hope become seeds of faith planted in fertile ground. In the end, placing faith above wealth means recognizing that God is not limited to the numbers in a bank account. He is the provider, and His blessings go beyond what we can imagine. It's like trading an empty safe for a sky full of promises. But can faith protect us from all challenges, or is it a powerful weapon in a spiritual battle unfolding in ways we don't always see? Many times, the financial struggles we face are not just visible problems, but reflections of an invisible battle, a spiritual war. The enemy knows the power of a faithful and financially capable heart in advancing God's kingdom. When a believer prospers, They have more means to help, bless, and expand the impact of Jesus in the world. Thus, financial difficulties can sometimes be strategies meant to distract us, plant doubt, and weaken our trust in God. The feeling of constant struggle can be exhausting, but God gives us spiritual weapons to fight these battles. Prayer, fasting, and declaring biblical promises are powerful tools to resist the enemy's attacks. Imagine a man who, faced with enormous debt, decided to dedicate his home to daily prayer. He gathered his family every night, asking God for wisdom and provision. Gradually, doors began to open, proving that God always has a plan, even in the midst of chaos. Facing these battles requires discernment, because not every challenge is purely material. Often we need to ask ourselves, what is God teaching me through this? Or how can I use this struggle to glorify His name? When we realize that these battles are allowed to strengthen our spirit, we begin to understand the connection between spiritual maturity and waiting for financial blessings that may be on their way. Spiritual maturity is like a plant that must be cultivated before it bears fruit. Many times, God delays financial blessings because He knows we still need to grow in character to manage them wisely. It's like giving a powerful car to someone who doesn't yet know how to drive. The results could be disastrous. God wants us to have not just resources, but also the maturity to use them in alignment with His purposes. This waiting period can be challenging, but it's also an opportunity for growth. A young entrepreneur, before achieving success, faced multiple business failures. He used each failure as a lesson, learning never to put money above spiritual principles. And today, with financial stability, he attributes his success to patience and dependence on God during difficult times. This gap between promise and fulfillment is where spiritual strength is solidified. When we understand that God is preparing us, waiting is no longer a punishment but a privilege. Each difficulty becomes a step towards something greater. But is this maturity just for our benefit? Or does it teach us to look at others with more empathy, preparing us to use our experiences as tools for support and connection? Financial struggles not only shape our character, but also expand our ability to understand and help others. When we experience scarcity, we learn firsthand what it means to depend on God and appreciate small blessings. This makes us more sensitive to the struggles of those around us. A mother who once experienced the pain of not having enough food for her children develops a heart full of compassion and a burning desire to help other families in similar situations. Empathy is born from vulnerability. When we share our stories of overcoming hardship, we open doors for others to feel strengthened. Imagine someone transforming their difficult experiences into concrete actions, such as creating a support network or a community project. This is the power of struggles. They not only transform us, but also empower us to transform lives around us. As Paul wrote, we are comforted so that we may comfort others. And in the end, we realize that struggles teach us to be channels of God's generosity. Every act of empathy, whether giving advice, offering financial help, or simply providing a hug, reflects the heart of Jesus. But can this empathy also be used to break patterns of poverty and create a lasting legacy? Perhaps this is the next step in a journey that begins with pain, but finds purpose. Now that you understand what Jesus revealed about how to speak with God, are you ready to transform your prayers into a true dialogue of faith? Think about it. What can you change today in the way you pray? Could it be your tone, your intention, or the way you trust in the response? The truth is, prayer is not just about asking, it's about aligning your will with God's, allowing Him to transform your heart before He transforms your circumstances. So what are you waiting for? Start today. Take a few minutes to reflect on your recent prayers. Were they filled with doubt or with faith? Were you truly speaking to God or just venting to yourself? The difference between a powerful prayer and an ineffective one lies in the heart behind the words. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We are just beginning to explore the depths of spirituality, the power of Jesus, and how to grow in faith. Don't miss the next lessons. Every step counts toward a more connected and fulfilling life.